So, this week we're diving deep into the central nervous system and taking an extensive look at the brain. We're going to look at the spinal cord, Unit 15, Activity 4, and the spinal nerves and cranial nerves. Unit 16 will be next week. I know the schedule says that we're doing the brain and spinal cord this week, but I just can't see how to fit all that into one class and not have your heads literally just explode. So, I'm changing the schedule. Don't tell the department. And putting the spinal cord next week. So this week we're going to do Unit 15, the brain, which will be pages 313 through 330 in your book, and pages 333 through 342. So lab activities 1, a little tiny bit of 2, lab activity 3, and activity 5. Activity 4 is the spinal cord. So we'll do that activity 4 next week, along with Unit 16, the spinal nerves and cranial nerves. So, let's see, the lecture videos, I've got 2 hours and 45 minutes of a lecture on the brain. I divided it into 4 parts, and yes, I did the brain in less than 3 hours. In the lecture, we do an overview of the brain, describe a mid-sagittal section of the brain, which is right down the middle. We'll describe the brain stem, which is the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata, or medulla oblongata, whichever way you like to say it. I always say it medulla. For some reason, that's the way I learned it years and years ago. Let's see, we're going to look at the medial side of the brain then. So we'll look at a mid-sagittal section, turn it sideways, look at it from the medial side, the center of the brain, and all the structures we can see, and talk about all those various structures. We'll talk about the cerebellum as well, the diencephalon, the cerebral cortex, which is the gray matter, the white matter, which are the axons, the myelinated fibers that exit and enter the brain, go up and down into the brain, bringing sensory information in and motor information out. And we'll talk a little bit about basal nuclei. And I should probably talk a little bit more about those, but again, it's too much. So no, you can learn that stuff later on. So that and the limbic system, and there's some other things that they're better add-ons once you learn the basic structure of the brain. And then we're going to map the structure of the brain to the functions of the brain. So there's various areas of the brain that are responsible for various functions. So we're going to look at some of those, and we're not going to dive hugely into that, but you're going to give you a sense of where everything is. Let's see. Then after that, we'll talk about what an electroencephalogram, an EEG is, and then talk about the meninges and cerebrospinal fluid. And those are important because, let's say you have a head injury and you get cerebrospinal fluid buildup on one side of the brain, you get pressure on the brain, you end up with stroke and brain damage. So it's important as to where that occurs and how that occurs. So we'll talk about a little bit about that too. I finish up then with a brief overview of the brain during development, and then end up with the curious case of Phineas Gage. And you don't want to miss out on that because it's fun. So anyway, then I go with the sheep brain dissection briefly because that's something you're going to watch videos on, so I'm not going to go over it extensively in the lecture. I have the sheep brain dissection videos from Pearson. I'll put them all together for you in order. The videos are all in the Pearson study area. Lab dissection videos or something like that. But Pearson puts them in alphabetical order, which is maddening. So I'll put them in order for you, which makes a lot more sense, and link to them on a separate lab activities page for you. Those videos are all pretty short, like 2 to 5 minutes long each, and I think there's 8 of them, so it really won't take you long to go through the sheep brain dissection. We would do that in lab, so that's important for you to do and take a look at it. The sheep brain and human brain are similar. The frontal lobe in the sheep brain is much, much smaller, so that's the biggest thing that you notice, but pretty much everything is in basically the same spots, except for the sheep brain is kind of turned a little bit because they're horizontal and we're vertical. So, but other than that, the order from front to back and top to bottom is all pretty much the same. So anyway, I also put a link to a human brain dissection, which is a video from the University of British Columbia, and the photography is just absolutely gorgeous on that. It's very clear and it's a really good video. So watch the sheep brain dissection videos and the human brain dissection video, and the videos also of the plastic brain model. Those aren't as exciting, but they're good to go through. I also put a link to a website that goes over what the sheep brain dissection should show you. It's there's two of them. There's Lumen Learning is one. I forgot where the other one is from, but it like shows you all the different parts, and so that you can. So as you're going through the video, you can have a picture there that you can refer to. Also, you can also look at the pictures of the book. Pictures of the book don't show you everything, but it shows you most of the things. So let's see. What else? So that link to that like Lumen Learning overview is in the not required section of the lab activities page. The lab activities page is required, and that's in the not required section at the bottom of that page. So in addition to that, take a look at the study guide, do the pre-lab and post-lab exercises in the book, and lab activities 1, 2, a little bit of 2, 3, and 5. Turn those into Dropbox and do the assignments on Pearson. Study the pictures in the book, and then you'll be ready for Quiz 11, Over the Brain, which will be available April 9th through the 15th. And as always, if anyone wants to meet with me on Zoom, let me know. And if you want a group session, we can do that. Otherwise, email me, text me, or call me with questions. And I hope that you guys have a great week. Bye.